5 things that your company training is absolutely missing. And the reason I know this is because I have worked with hundreds of companies to optimize, standardize, and actually amplify their company training. And the reason why this is actually missing is because the fact of the matter is most folks that I work with have an incredible skill set. They start a service-based business because they know that they can trade their time for money. And then all of a sudden they end up running a team. Unfortunately, for most of us, a team is non-negotiable if you want to scale, especially a service business, right? You want to be in a position where you can maintain consistency as you serve more and more clients and as you up level the types of services that you offer. And at the end of the day, it is critical to build a team. There are lots and lots of things, lots and lots of resources on how to do this. And in fact, I have recorded several videos about the specifics around how to get your business out of your brain and down on paper. What I'm going to talk about here are the 5 things that your training is missing. And the reason why they are missing is because nobody tells us this. And the only things that are actually available, in my experience, for small business owners that are actually accessible when they start to actually hire a team are these things that are really overwhelming, and they go through every single thing that you should do to train a team. But this scaffolding is going to be really, really helpful for anybody who is just starting out with hiring. If you have a team, but you know that maybe you kind of fumbled the ball on their training, and if you're in a position where downright you just don't have resources for your internal team and you want to upskill and up-level folks. And so this is going to be helpful for you. The reason I am recording this video is because I got a phone call. Like most good ideas, I had a friend who came to me. He was like, I want to hire the first person for this business I'm running, and how do I go about this? The fact of the matter is this person has had so much experience in other businesses, managing teams, growing teams, hiring and vetting new candidates. And he was coming to me for the simple no frills solution for his new venture that he is running. And I told him these are the 5 missing things and or the 5 best practices for making sure that you have some killer team training. Number 1 is the intentional outline. An intentional outline is done way before you actually extend an offer to a new teammate or before you even go down this path, because what you want to do is you want to create the container. You want to create the environment and outline everything. When you join an institution, a college or a university, you sit down in class number 1, and what do? They hand you a rubric. And the reason why the rubric or the syllabus is so important is because of the fact that these are the requirements or these are the milestones in order for us to give you the credits, right? To say that you've completed this thing, that you are now a master, and we can check this box. And a lot of companies miss this. They don't create the outline and they shoot from the hip on training. And what ends up happening is among all the other 1,000 things that you've got going on inside of the company, training starts to fall to the back of the queue. And then all of a sudden, you're 9 months into a new hire, and then they're still asking you questions that you probably should have covered in the first 90 days. So the biggest thing to do is create an outline. Take a look at some of those things that you know your team needs. And if you are looking for an outline, I have an incredible 4-week training plan that is really, really great, that helps you not start from a blank page, so that you can start to get this moving inside of your company. Miss number 2 is highlight a dedicated mentor, right? So Luke had Obi-Wan, right? He had somebody who was bringing him through the process, who could show him what to do. That person wasn't managing him. Let's just go ahead and say that. That person was just a little bit his senior in the same skill that he wanted to develop. And the great thing that ends up happening when you create a dedicated mentor is that someone who might be afraid to go to their manager with stupid questions can now ask somebody on your team who is just a little bit their senior and can help pull them along throughout the process. They can start to answer some of those baseline questions, and you can even set up opportunities for them to do things like shadowing and really, really up-level their skills. So create an opportunity and partner somebody throughout the training process that they can ask their questions to, that isn't the boss, right? That isn't the person who's actually going in and taking a look at their performance and how they're trending in the training flow. The third really important thing is to create a self-paced download. The self-paced download is critical because what you want to do is not assume how people want to learn or when people want to learn or how many times they might need to watch something over and over to get it right. And I do this all day at Operations Agency as we create internal knowledge bases and we organize them to make sure that folks have a really linear training path to go through that doesn't require a ton of management's time and a ton of folks to kind of reinvent the wheel or remember, okay, wait, how do we do do this thing, and it just feels really chaotic. So creating an internal resource that folks can sit down at and actually download the information and watch it, and then better yet, reference it throughout the rest of the training process is going to help you get more bang for your buck with team training. Because at the end of the day, if you are about to enter into a hiring spree and you only have a couple of managers who know how to train, we are going to be limited or stifled by the amount of time that those managers have. And that is something that at scale, we really can't allow to happen because everything is going to fall apart, right? Our team isn't going to upskill as fast as we need them to. Our managers aren't going to be focused on other areas of the business that need to grow. They're going to be bogged down in training. It's going to be really, really expensive. It's going to be really, really inconsistent. And unfortunately, it's not going to work. We're going to be banging our heads against the wall, and we want to create an internal resource that somebody can go through that provides a consistent experience, a referenceable experience, and really helps them understand what exactly they need to do, when they need to do it, and how they need to do it. Fourth, the pulse check. A lot of companies miss this because what we do is we have great, incredible excitement around getting our people set up inside of our platforms. Maybe our learning management software is beautiful because you've worked with operations agency and it's amazing. At the end of the day, what you still need to do is schedule those performance reviews. And I know that performance reviews sound super corporate and they sound like something that maybe feels a little red tapey for your organization, but hear me out. I have found in the years, so I've been doing this for 10 years, I've been on my own operations agency. One of the biggest things that folks come to me for is they're like, I don't know how to assess my team's improvement performance-wise. I don't know how to tell them where they're at and how I can upskill them and up-level them. So creating a solid internal, uptake on your training is going to be invaluable. But additionally, what you want to do is make sure that performance stays top of mind throughout the entire employment relationship. And I think it's really important to highlight this because if you don't schedule and or set performance reviews, you're not going to do them. This has happened to me, this has happened to our clients, this has happened to friends and colleagues of mine. You just forget or it falls off the radar because there's other things happening. A little bit goes a long way in terms of performance. So the very first thing you want to do is make sure that you have scheduled performance reviews so that you can sit down with your team, have an honest conversation, ask them how they're doing, what's going on in their personal life, what are their goals, how do they feel like they're doing in their job, right? I also love to ask for feedback. I love to ask for feedback inside of these reviews. There's a lot of incredible momentum that comes from being able to assess somebody's performance or a department's performance and then ask for feedback about how they can do their job better. Some of the best ideas I've had in improving my business, period, have come from reviews with my team. And it's really, really incredible. So schedule these. The second thing to do is make sure that you have some kind of baseline for performance. This usually happens in the outline. So item number 1 that we talked about earlier, but make sure you have some kind of baseline that tells me, okay, great, this is how we should be performing, or these are the standards of excellence, and then here's exactly where you're falling. So have a way to kind of have a conversation about that. If you want to hear a little bit more about data and metrics, you can totally go watch the data and metrics video here on YouTube, but that is going to be invaluable to the conversation, and I think it's been incredible for us at Operations Agency as well. Fifth and final thing that your training is missing: a graduation ceremony. And I know this sounds cheesy, okay? You're probably like, Allie, please, I'm not gonna give my team a hat or a certificate or any of those things. But let me just tell you something. When you go through any programming, right, there's always a finish line, right? You try something challenging. That marathons have finish lines, Ironmans have finish lines, and you do the thing that you know you need to do, and there's a very clear finish line there. And you can do this in a multitude of different types of ways. You can, of course, have a meeting or a review period and say, hey, listen, you've met all the standards. You are officially out of training, and now you are in kind of the pool of talent that we currently have inside of our company. As silly as it sounds, it really does kind of put the benchmark in the brains of your team to say, oh, wow, I did it. Like, I actually did it. There's a nice little serotonin dump, and then they're really excited about joining your team. And I feel like when we have actually illuminated this issue inside of businesses and we've supported them in creating any sort of milestoning event, whether that's as simple as getting somebody a gift card and saying, hey, great job, you did it, you finished training, or as complicated as actually getting them a trophy and putting it on their desk. Like, kid you not, we've had people who have done that, which is great. I mean, it just depends on your culture. So find something that fits your culture, find something that you're excited about. If you don't have a ton to invest here, just do a small little gift or a meeting or something like that so that they understand exactly they went through the training, they did the skills, and they're really, really excited about now probably moving forward and joining more formally the team that exists that supported them. And so making sure that this is true and that you have a graduation graduation ceremony of some kind or a milestone event that goes really toward the end of your training is going to be incredible for your team's morale and for this sticking long term, and that they can keep the momentum with their performance. So if you're struggling with any of these 5 areas, this is the reason we live and breathe at Operations Agency. So what I encourage you to do, below there's going to be a link to apply to work with us. Go ahead and fill it out, operationsagency.com/apply. I'll review it, let you know if it feels like a good fit to work together and partner on creating incredible training and SOPs for your team. I hope to see you soon, and thanks so much for taking the time today.